Well, hello there, my abundant healers. I am happy to hop on in here. Today is a studio day for me, so I'm here in my studio. I'll give you a little peek at that. I'm sitting here over by the window, trying to keep the lights off because it is blazing hot here in Manhattan, but it's supposed to break tomorrow, so here's hoping. Now, one of the things I've been talking about in the feed here is about getting to that place where you may want to scale your practice and talking about what does that look like? What is the big picture here? And today we're going to do an assignment for expanding your vision around those things. So most therapists, coaches, and healers that I've met, when it comes to the topic of expanding their practices, they tend to believe that the most consistent way to find clients is through word of mouth or referral networks. They think having a thriving practice means that you're burned out on seeing as many clients as you can in person, back to back. They believe hard work is rewarded with success, that there's a cap on how many clients you can serve, and they fail to prioritize their self-care because they think their job is actually the gatekeeper to their financial security. But truly the quickest and most effective way to build your business and start making the kind of impact that you want to, not only on your income, but also for your clients, really is to scale online. Now, some people resist this idea because they think that something gets lost in translation when you translate your services online. But I really beg to differ. Stop comparing apples to oranges, that's what I say, because if you do that, you're missing the point, and you're missing out on all the opportunities that are currently available to you. Now, moving into the online space is a whole new and different animal. It has strengths and weaknesses all its own, so let it be its own thing. And then learn how to make that thing your thing too. And then once you do that, you've got choices. You have choices that will grant you professional, personal, and financial freedom. And the work will not suffer, it'll just be different work. And it will be just as successful, only in a different way. And I know because that has happened to me. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Brianna McWilliam. I'm an author, educator, Reiki practitioner, and creative arts therapist. And I've been in the field for over 13 years. And after scaling my practice online, in little under a year, I started pulling in up to $10,000 per month in online revenue. And just this week, I received several unsolicited emails from people who have consumed my online content, telling me that it completely changed the way they saw themselves and their relationships, and it led to radical changes in their lives. Another person this week asked me how they could donate hundreds of dollars to my work because they were so appreciative of the free content that they had consumed through my YouTube channel specifically. So things like that are more likely to happen to you when you figure out ways to share more of who you are and what you have to offer without stretching yourself too thin. In other words, when you learn to scale your message online. So I'm just going to assume at this point I've made my point, and you are interested in scaling your practice online. Well, as a therapist, coach, and healer, I've found that the best way to do that is to create one of three things. And the first is an online course with self-directed content through passive income funnels. The second is an online course involving live group coaching element. And the third is a hybrid of both of those things. So in this 4-part video series, we're going to lay some groundwork to get you started on the path to creating a kick-ass online course. So at this point, you probably fall into one of two categories. And the first is you just don't know where to begin, or you have a ton of ideas and motivation, but somehow it always tends to fizzle out. Well, today I want to talk about when you don't really know where to begin. In our next video, we'll tackle when you have a ton of ideas, but it fizzles out. In our third video, we'll explore how to create a course that sells. And in our fourth video, I'll tell you a lot more about how to deliver your course through sales funnels. So let's dive into our first topic for today. When you don't know where to begin. Well, usually it's because you can't see the big cohesive picture. So it feels absolutely impossible that you could reverse engineer that, which means you don't know how to package and translate your skills online, so you set yourself up for failure by half-ass investing in a few low-cost or free trainings that are only meant to give you a taste anyway, without doing any of the necessary inner and mindset work required to change the way that you think about money and having a successful career. And then when you, predictably, fail at accomplishing those goals, you tell yourself, I'm not cut out for this. Now, to my mind, what's really going on here is you're struggling with a scarcity mindset that throws up this wall of perfectionism to keep you small because it feels less riskier than playing it big, right? So in other words, falling from a short height is less painful than falling from a great one. And if you've been attending to your failures or a fear of failure, and remember, avoiding failure is still giving your attention to it, you're bound to manifest failure in your endeavors. So the higher you allow yourself to climb, the louder those voices scream, "Be careful, you're gonna fall, I'm not sure this is such a good idea." They tend to get louder, right? And so you have to make sure that you have a mindset practice in place to shut them up. And the more you invest in yourself, the more you have to believe in yourself and shrug off those old stories about what you are and you're not capable of, okay? So if you want something and you doubt yourself, there's a lot of resistance to receiving it. But if you want something and you don't doubt yourself, there's a hell of a lot less resistance there. But sometimes we have a strong attachment to those old stories because we have an emotional investment in keeping ourselves small. So for example, what would it mean to be someone who succeeds in her business? Are you afraid of mishandling your money, that you're too flaky? Do you believe it would mean a poor quality of life and you'd have to work harder all the time to maintain it? Would becoming truly successful somehow ruffle the pride of a parent? Would you feel guilty for breaking a certain role assigned to you by a spouse, sibling, or parent? Would being someone who has money be off-putting to a critical friend or family member who moralizes poverty? Would increasing success alienate you among your friends who bond over bitching about how hard their lives are and their jobs are? Would you feel guilty for having more when someone else has less? Would your family put pressure on you to carry the financial burden for everyone else if you had more money? Now reflect on these questions and maybe even write down a few more of your own. And if you find that any of these resonate with you, I invite you to notice that information as it bubbles up and imagine putting it in a box and saving it for later, because you are going to want to dig into that shit so you can get rid of it, right? Now for today's activity, however, I would like to practice visioning the bigger picture and have you complete an assignment to help you attract your next inspired action steps regarding the possibility of online course development in your practice. So first, I want to stimulate our crown and our third eye, right? Because that's really the part that's going to help you flesh out your big picture. And if you're watching this video, you probably have a desire for something, even if it's currently expressing itself in avoidance. So for example, maybe you're here because you think, I don't want to fail in my practice. So in avoidance of failure, what you actually desire is to succeed, and you need to focus on success, not the avoidance of failure. So what does success mean to you? What does that look like very concretely? What do successful people do and what do they look like? What would a day in the life of a successful person look like? What would a day in your life as a successful practitioner look like? And here's a hint. Usually at the basis of success is a feeling of freedom. So what makes you feel free? Okay. Now the assignment is to write out your daily schedule as if you were already living the dream of a completely successful practitioner in your niche. However you would define that, right? And extra points if you post your ideal schedule in the comments below, right? Now the second part of this is to visualize yourself moving through that ideal day that you just created and really giving yourself over to the vision and letting yourself feel that abundant life. So for example, in my vision, I usually see myself living in this lovely, luxurious building on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, which right now is really only a block away from where I live now. But after I go to the gym, I go and I sit in this public outdoor garden area attached to that building, and I just revel in the feeling of what it would be like to live there and just imagine going in and out of those doors every day. And so you want to think about, where do you feel the most peaceful and the most hopeful? And I invite you to go there and complete this assignment. Okay, and again, extra bounding points if you post your schedule in the comments below. If you want to learn more about my program, The Abundant Healer, 90 Days to Scale Your Practice Online, I invite you to check out the link in the caption of this video. This is a 90-day program that helps you skyrocket your career and step into the world of online revenue generation through passive income funnels, online group coaching programs, or a hybrid of each. Even if you have never made $1 online, even if you have no tech savvy, and it really helps you to do these things without having to piecemeal a bunch of different programs together and or shell out a bunch of money to experts and gurus. So if you want to learn more about that, check out the link in the caption of this video, and I look forward to reading your ideal days in the comments below.